Welcome back everyone to Untitled Aquatics. I am Austin Sykes, and today I'm with
Queen of Reef.
So today she took out a little bit of her time from Aquashella to do this interview. So first question that I do have is, how's the 220-gallon tank?
The 220-gallon tank just went through a bacteria bloom that killed almost all of my SPS, which I am so sad about, but I luckily figured out that it was a bacteria bloom, so I could pop a UV sterilizer on it and get that sorted. However, I haven't really announced it yet, but I have to move the 220-gallon here when I get back from the show, which is going to be an undertaking to say the least, because I mean, moving a 220-gallon tank is serious business.
I'm about to say, I know the feeling because I moved my 90-gallon one time and our 100-gallon.
A mission.
Yeah,
it's
a mission.
Yeah, definitely not looking forward to that process. Have a lot of anxiety about it, but it has to be done, so what can you do?
Alright, so I know in your 220-gallon, you got a regular fox face.
Yes, I do, Giuseppe!
So I got a question. If you had the choice, would you still stay with your regular fox face, or would you get a bicolor fox face?
I would stay with Giuseppe. I mean, I really like simple fish. I haven't explored the large fish world, I guess, before, so I'm trying to go through the basics. I love Giuseppe. I think he is a beautiful fish. The bicolor ones are nice, like, don't get me wrong, but I have fallen in love with this fish, and he's stolen my heart. He's my little Giuseppe, you know, he's my pride and joy. I love that fish so much.
But say, I'm gonna get bicolor just because I think they look a little cooler, in my opinion.
No, everybody has their preferences. I actually get asked that all the time. Why did you go with the plain fox face? But honestly, you gotta get your basics. You gotta get your basics. 1 point, right?
Yeah. So one other thing is like, for anyone that has like a 75 on up, what tanks or like algae eating like fish would you recommend for those tanks?
Now, I'm not a really big fish person because I've never had the opportunity until very recently to keep fish like tanks. I've always had small tanks, 40-gallon, 29-gallon. So I'm not all that familiar with all of the kinds of fish, but I can speak for the fish I have. I have a Tamini tang, and that Tamini tang is beautiful. It's got like it's almost like a dark gray black with like beautiful orange. That guy eats. I mean, he eats all of the algae and like picks up like everything, you know, from the little pebbles and stuff. Tamini tang, I love him. And my blue tang doesn't really eat that much algae, but I just got it because it's a blue tang. But I mean, really, you just have to do your research, figure out the fish that's best for you, and I've noticed that the order of adding them is important. So that's something to take into consideration.
Alright, if you could add any fish in the world, what would it be to your tank? Like any fish, like nothing stops you.
Candy cane basslet. I knew what I was going to say before you even finished your sentence. Candy cane basslet, so gorgeous. Love the coloration on them. They are just stunning, stunning fish.
Alright, same question, but with the coral.
Okay, coral. Ooh! Honestly, just SPS in general. I know that's not like a definitive answer, but SPS in general, I have had such a hurdle with keeping sticks, and it's just driving me nuts. I want to get to the point where I have colonies of SPS in my tank, and then I will be content that I have mastered the hobby and I'm happy with my tank, really. So SPS, definitely.
Alright, so if anyone has not seen, she's been doing some videos about aquascaping. So what is a few tips that you would say to never do it while aquascaping?
Never do while aquascaping. Always make sure that aquascape is small. If it looks like it fits your tank when it's empty, it's too big. You have to look at your finished product and say, wow, this feels small. Because you have to imagine and take into account that once corals grow into your aquascape, it's going to look completely different. It's not going to be the same tank. So when you have just your rock aquascape structure in your tank, it's going to be small, but that's the point because you want to allow enough space for the corals to grow. Also, another thing is to make sure that you have a large amount of space between your aquascape and the glass, because when you're cleaning when you have your hands in the tank, when you're cleaning the glass, you want to make sure that you have enough space to work with. You know, if the coral frag falls down, and you don't want to have to just be like, I didn't really like that coral anyway. You know, you want to have room to work with. Smaller, the better, because you can always add little pieces and structures later down the road, but you can't undo what's been done. So, really small, limited rock, I would say.
Yeah, but I say I'm actually way my tank is, and the video will be coming out about that. Like one of my tanks is like there's a whole arch that's going up for them to swim through, and then right there is going to be like an entire zoa garden.
Oh, see, that's nice. I like that. I love that. I love playing with negative space like that. That's nice.
So another thing is, I know you have the like cool aquascape in your 220. Did you design that?
Yes, I designed it and built it myself. I mean, I didn't design it per se. I didn't draw anything out. I didn't have really any idea of what I was creating when I was going into it. But as I was building it, it kind of made itself. You know, I had this idea that I wanted something very branchy, something that almost kind of drew inspiration from freshwater tanks. You know, those sticks that kind of, I don't even know what they're called because I'm not a freshwater person, but trying to create something elongated, and as I was building it, it just came alive, and it is what it is. It's a lot of experimenting. It took me 3 months to make that. So definitely take your time. Look at it with fresh eyes. That's really, really important.
All right.
Or 2.5, okay.
So I know you have small tanks and you have big tanks.
Yes.
For anyone that's like getting into the hobby, what would you recommend more?
You hear the rule that the larger the volume of water, the easier it is, and that's true, but I disagree. I think as a beginner, you should get something in the 40-gallon range or 29-gallon range. That from 29 to 40 gallons I would recommend, because it's small enough that you can handle the maintenance tasks easily. You know, they're very quick. But the problem with smaller tanks is that things can go bad quickly. But that's the point. To me, I feel like it's like a learn fast, learn hard experience, because once you start with a small tank and you get through it and you create a finished product, you are equipped to keep anything at that point, because you're able to understand what diligence means and what, you know, taking care of a tank diligently means. So I definitely agree the 29-40 gallon range is the best for starting out.
All right. Sure. So anyone that is beginning, do you have any advice that they can use, like for fish wise, coral wise, especially like if someone's cutting into SBS, what could you say for them?
I would say do your research very diligently. The more you know ahead of time walking into it, the more comfortable you're going to feel. But at a certain point, take the jump. You can only research so much, and it comes to a point where you just have to start doing those things to understand those things. And don't be too scared to jump into the unknown and experiment with things that you haven't tried before or done before, because that's how you learn. Even if it goes wrong, that's how you learn. So it's important to just take risks, but researched, calculated risks, if that makes sense.
So on the topic of coral, what's your favorite LPS?
My favorite LPS is kind of biased. It's my torch. I love my torch, my Holy Grail torch. That thing is my pride and joy. I love torches because they have so much movement to them and they just float. I like that they like high light and they can be placed in different areas where other LPS normally wouldn't be able to stay. And I love torches. Torches for sure. You know.
All right. What's your favorite SPS?
SPS, it would be my, gosh, it sounds so silly, but in one of my YouTube videos, I nicknamed one of my Millies, Dance Millie Dance. Well, it's because in my video, I was like, Dance Millie Dance, because it looked like it was dancing with its little, I forgot the name of it. It's a very specific coral that's sold at Top Shelf. Gosh, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but if you go to my videos, it's Dance Millie Dance. That Millie is my favorite SPS for sure.
Alright. And then moving to the topic of fish, what's your favorite fish that you have in the tank now?
That is so hard because I love them all, honestly. I think it would have to be... I'd say Goby because he's my first ever fish that I've ever had, and he's traveled with me in every tank, and he's always grumpy, but he's just my baby. I love that fish, you know. I love my little yellow Watchman Goby. Even though he's not yellow anymore, he's silver, but it happens.
It happens. Sometimes it happens. So thank you for taking your time out of your day from Aquashella. If anyone's not here, I will be posting that video up later or before, one of the two. I just want to thank you for sitting and watching. This is Queen of Reef. Thank you for taking the swim with us. I'm Addictive Aquatics. Have a nice day.